Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I thought I'd talk about this gig I have on Friday and the very specific kind of requirements I had from this pedal board and why I even put it together in the first place. Now I did consider taking my Fractal FM3, which is what I use for a lot of those dates, but while I've got the VP4 here, I thought, what the heck, let's just kind of give this a try and run it through an amp. So I knew the guitars I was going to use. There's some rock tunes in there like Skyfall, that Adele thing, and there's Eye of the Tiger. But also, I'm going to need this because we're doing Hopelessly Devoted to You, which doesn't really sound right on this guitar. It's okay, but that's just that sound, right? So I'll have this there. I'll probably use it on a couple of other songs. We're playing the song Happy, but I kind of wanted to put a board together. So I'm going to take my Bassman, which is what you're hearing right now, 4x10 Victoria Bassman as the amplifier of choice. And I was kind of mucking around with pedals, and I knew for sure I wanted to have an OCD type pedal of some sort. This is one of my favorites for that kind of crunchy rock tone, which, you know, Eye of the Tiger, right? But I was thinking about it and I thought, well, I could put my OCD in there. It's a version 1.6. But I thought this Keeley Blues Disorder, which I've had for a while, is one of my favorite pedals. That thing's killer. Has an OCD mode, and I thought, wonder if I can get that sound that I want for this particular thing from it. Sure enough, yeah, I can. But it has the added benefit of having a secondary sound in there as well. I'll show you that. So the main sound I'm going to go for is I'm going to run this in the OCD mode for the drive, but I'm going to run it with the blues breaker sound for the tone control. It's a little smoother. So one thing with those OCDs is they're a little bit brash. This is the tone. As I mentioned before, I can get this all out of my FM3, and maybe I should have just done that, but I was thinking, what the hell, I've got the VP4 here, let's give it a go. But this pedal has the added benefit of I can switch it down to up to the BB side, the blues breaker side, and get like a blues tone. This is one of my favorite blues tones for neck pickups. So this is normal. This is so it adds a nice little bit of bite in there. And you might be wondering, well then why the Zen drive? Because I do a lot of blues gigs, like that's kind of a big part of what I do. Like even when I play rock stuff, I'm still coming at it from a bluesy kind of approach. But I set up the Blues Disorder for neck pickup like that kind of tone. And then the Zen drive for more bridge pickup type stuff. And you guessed it, combination time. So together they work really well. That's often my decisions about having two drive pedals is I want to know what they're going to combine like. Because the thing is, like a Zen drive is a very mid-forward kind of Dumble-esque type sound, and the Blues Disorder is more of a kind of rocky kind of rock tones, right? So the two of them blend really, really well. And that essentially gives me a third tone. I have my blues kind of bridge pickup thing. I can switch over to the Blues Disorder for a more rocky thing, and then a combination of the two. I love the old Boss OC2s. Nothing really sounds like these. And great sound, especially on orchestra dates. I find that actually that's a really useful sound to have because I can double up horn lines and stuff and whatever else I need to, right? I knew I wanted to have an ear turn, this pedal right here, which is for switching my pages on my iPad. I had a different one on a gig the other day and it just stopped working. So I changed the battery and then I just could not get it to connect. So I've put this one on the board here. It runs on power. I don't have to worry about batteries. Seems pretty solid. Now you might be wondering why I've got it in that orientation. Well, I can't fit it any other way. But also, importantly, I really only need to go scroll page right most of the time. 90% of the time. I really need to scroll back, unless there's like a weird repeat or something that somebody's not thought about. But most of the time I'm scrolling in that direction. So I really only need that side of it. That seems to work for me. Now the spark pedal I put in there because I wanted to have some kind of boost. I thought about putting the OTB custom boost, one of my favorite pedals, but the spark boost works in there and it's dead clean. It's not really changing the sound, it just allows me to kick up. So I can do that for solos, or I can also kind of, if I go to the Telecaster, I can kick up the volume to match the sound of the DGT. Because the thing is, these two guitars are different volumes. This is lower output pickups, it's tele pickups, as opposed to humbuckers. So that's a really handy thing to have, but also too, you want to kick up on a solo and get a bit more volume, you know, which sometimes happens. I've had conductors kind of go, come on man, give me more. And so you can't kind of you might not even be able to get to your amp, you know, there could be someone else sitting in the way or whatever. You just kick that on and you're there. So that leaves the VP4. Now what I wanted to do with this was, essentially that's my reverb and delay, which most of the time I just leave on. Like that. Sounds really good. But I also have tremolo on it. So I've set that for harmonic tremolo. My favorite. Because the song Skyfall has tremolo in it. There's a part like that. I really like having rotary as a sound. It's one I actually use quite a bit. So those are the kind of main sounds I have in there, but I also can have a fuzz there, which I may need for Skyfall, but I'm hoping I can get away with that with the Blues Disorder, because it's sort of, you know, it's kind of a heavy, basically when they say fuzz, they usually mean heavier drive. But there's a couple of things with this board I needed. So I needed to put on there a multi-box, because the VP4 uses quite a bit of power, and I don't really have a power supply. So on a multi-box in there, that has some benefits, because I can run my iPad power off it. At the moment, I'm running my camera in a kind of precarious position, but nonetheless, I could run my iPad off it. I'm actually running the amp off there as well. Now everything's coming from the same source. That's kind of cool. The Strymon Ojai has been one I've used for the longest of times for power supplies. The Strymon stuff is kind of unbeatable. It's so clean and reliable, and I've never ever had an issue with that thing. It's just great. I did also put a little interface thing underneath this board. This is a Pedal Train. This board is a Pedal Train Classic 1, and I bought this Voodoo Labs interface thing when I was in Australia. And it just allows me a point to an in and out point, so I don't have to be trying to get cables in between pedals and stuff. And then I mounted the other half of the Ojai power supply underneath. Here's the thing, if you're building a pedal board, there's a couple of things that are essentials. I think you need a cable tester. This is the one I use. It was cheap. It was maybe 60 or 80 bucks. It will test everything from MIDI to RCAs to, and you just use it for guitar cables and XLR. All right. But then I know all my patch cables are good. And I did actually find one in there that was cutting out. I can't have unreliable gear on gigs. I just can't. The level of gigs I'm doing, this is a concert on Friday. People are paying to be there. You know, you just can't have unreliable gear. So what I do if I find a patch cable that's unreliable, which I did, is I plugged it in here and I started wiggling it. It was getting intermittent things. I cut it in half. Then I can't possibly use it again until I, you know, change it. So yeah, that's one thing for sure. Definitely do that. The second thing that I'd say, whenever it comes to pedal boards, if I'm putting something together, is I always spray all the plugs with electrical cleaner. Use whichever one works. It doesn't really matter. They're like not expensive. I spray it in all the jack plugs and I kind of move it in and out because some of these pedals in here are vintage. I mean, the OC2 is pretty old. The Zen Drive is a newish kind of pedal, but I've had it for years. I wouldn't say it's really a vintage pedal, but kind of. Yeah, you just want stuff to be reliable. The one pedal I didn't talk about was the volume pedal here, and I'm actually just using this little Dunlop Mini X as expression. So it's literally, when it's heel back, it's using the tuner on the VP4, and when it's moved forward, it's just acting like a regular volume pedal, but via expression via the VP4. So you don't get any signal loss. You don't change, your tone doesn't change when you turn down, all that kind of stuff. Hey, look, I hope you found this useful. If you have, please like and subscribe. I post twice a week on here about the comings and goings of my career as a professional musician, various things, changes in equipment, what I'm up to, lessons, all that kind of stuff, session work. Yeah, so if you found it useful, please like and subscribe. Connect with me on social media if you want to. I have a Facebook page, of course, because I'm old, and I have an Instagram because I'm not that old. And those are the main two that I do. I don't really do Twitter X or any of that kind of stuff. I don't have time for that. Instagram and Facebook. In fact, my personal Facebook page is full, so go to Nick Granville Music, and there's all kinds of stuff on there, or Instagram. Let's connect on there. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. So thanks so much for being here. I'll see you soon. Cheers.